Hello.
We're
Welcome
back.
to we are back. The Woman Wise podcast is back, and with a bang. We're back with a bang.
Indeed, it's been a while. As you all know, we were taking a little bit of a break due to summer, and it is time to now just revive and re-energize ourselves with Woman Wise.
It is indeed. So we realized kind of late into our podcast last series, that we hadn't actually ever introduced ourselves. So we have interviewed all these amazing, fabulous, empowered women in Dubai. And of course, the reason why we want to speak to them is because we would also like to inspire people to hear our story, hear our journey. And so it would be absolutely fantastic, I think, to kick off and start with you, Janine, and find out a little bit more about you. Let's tell our audience who you are, what you're kind of about. And I suppose the first question, because one of the things that you do is you are a sales mentor.
Yeah.
So what inspired you to go down that path? What inspired you to become a sales mentor?
You know what? It's such a long journey, but I'm going to really try and keep it short. So I've got a lot of sales experience and hands-on sales experience. When I'm saying hands-on, it's really walking into businesses where I had to build my own database. I didn't get a database. I had to build my own. So I had to knock on doors. I had to really do a lot of admin to get to the fact that I've got clients. And after years and years, I realized, but there's a massive gap in the sales market because there's no one that's really holding your hand. It's if you're not taking responsibility and if you're not really accountable for yourself, you're going to let things fall. And as a salesperson, you can't have that happen. You can't forget to get in touch with clients. You can't forget the following up process. And because of that gap, I realized, okay, hold on. This is a business opportunity. So I had a conversation with my, at that point, when I was still working for corporate, the CEO. I went to him straight and I said to him, listen, I'm actually stealing time from you because I'm not working 8 hours a day. It's killing me inside knowing that I'm doing this. So this is the business module I'm looking at doing. And we had over 3 hours of conversation. And he looked at me and he said, go for it. I don't want you to resign from the corporate business here with us, but I want you to go for it. And that was it. I started my business as a sideline, and Jelani Sales has just been going from strength to strength. And it's all about really, with my 2 decades of sales experience, I've realized that I'm really, really in love with the fact of helping people and sharpening their sales skills. And it's really exciting to share the power of having a sales mentor with you guys because, from prospecting to closing deals, I teach you skills to succeed. And in a nutshell, that's how the journey started for me to become a sales mentor.
Wow. So I suppose most people, when they become an entrepreneur running their own business, they're really good at the technical aspect of what they do, which is why they probably leave corporate or they haven't great career. But without clients, obviously, you don't have a business. So what are the main challenges then that you actually see people facing when it comes to sales? What are the main things that you're helping them with?
So one of the main things is it's about a lack of direction and focus. You're so overwhelmed with everything that's going on and you only see your goal and you're not sure how to get there. And you're wearing, especially as an entrepreneur, and you're wearing very different hats at the same time. And with someone like a sales mentor, it's giving you some sort of strategy. It's giving you a more of a co-pilot, if you will, helping you through the challenges that you might be facing. So without any clear and specific goals, it's really easy to get sidetracked, right? And lose motivation. And that's where a sales mentor comes in to really guide you and help you to stay focused on certain things. And rejection is another big thing when it comes to sales. People take rejection personally, and it shouldn't be.
I would imagine actually in sales, 90% of the time it is a no, because you're never going to get 100% yes. Like there must be kind of a, yeah. So
no, it's true.
How do you help people deal with the rejection side of it? Because if it's your baby, if it's your company, your service, your product, and people are like, no, I don't want it, I don't need it, that obviously it's probably a lot more personal than if you're just working for a corporate company and it's just a job, but even then I know it's tough. But I think when it's your own company and it's your baby, as I said, how do you help people then deal with that rejection aspect? Because it's huge, it's a big thing.
No, it is a very big thing. It's such an emotional toll, and it's all about resilience, right? You need to understand that whoever you're phoning, they don't know you. And it's almost as if you need to have that mindset of, it is not about you. It is about the person you are phoning, and it's about the value and the solutions that you are providing that needs to make that decision. And for me, I always say this, that a no is not an indefinite no, because your selling time is not necessarily the buying time of the person you are calling.
Oh, okay. That sounds really interesting. Tell me a bit more about that.
So it does take time. For example, when I had my own struggles when I was in corporate and I had to do sales, and with that, this is the resilience I'm getting to. Is It took me over a year. It took me, like, if I'm not mistaken, I can't remember exactly now because it was quite a while ago. But it took me over a year to convince a client to use my services.
Okay.
And all it was is not being persistent in a sales orientated manner, but more persistent in a way of checking in, having conversations, building rapport, building relationship, having coffee with that person, or just going to their shop and see what's new in the shop. Just start a conversation, nothing to do with sales. And over a year later, that person phoned me to say, Janine, I'm ready for you to take on our sales and marketing. And I was like surprised because I didn't expect it. But I think it's also part of that being top of mind that plays a big role. So it's a thing where persistence and resilience is a big thing when it comes to sales. And it becomes as a sales mentor, it becomes like an emotional supporter, really providing that encouragement during difficult times, because we sometimes feel I'm the only one in the world, no one loves me, and that's not true.
Fantastic. So I mean, I think, without sales, there is no business. I mean, that's the whole thing. And I think people think of sales sometimes as completely separate from their business. It's like, well, here's the business, right? Here's the sales and marketing. And it's like, it's got to be completely separate. But surely it's all part of the same thing at the end of the day. It must be, I heard someone say a really good thing once about sales, which is you're always selling something. Even if you're in a conversation with a friend, you're selling an idea. So actually we're all salespeople, so when, we're trying to convince people, we're trying to, get them to buy into us as people, or as I said, our ideas. So actually kind of to get that stigma away from this idea that sales is kind of, Rottweilers, and they're just kind of heavy-handed, just that kind of sort of secondhand car salesman. That's always kind of what comes to mind, isn't it? These, that kind of archetype of sales. But of course, sales takes so many different faces. You've got so many different characters that comes across, in selling.
Absolutely. And it's all about, as I said, building relationship, because the more you get to know that person, the more you will understand what makes them tick. Using certain words will make them tick. Using, if you talk about family, that will make them tick. If you talk about data, that will make them tick. So it comes back to just really doing your research and understand that sales is not a sprint, because we sometimes tend to think that that's the thing. That client will not say no, they will definitely say yes. And all you do is go, 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 go. And it's not the case. It is not a sprint. And we tend to forget that. And also that's where the sales mentor side comes in, is reminding you of those kind of things, and then also help you with skill development in terms of having the right communication, having the way to negotiate. And of course, it comes back to building relationships.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that. As I always say, people buy from people. not buying from a company, you're buying from a service, you're buying actually from a person. So of course, the more you trust that person and you feel that they've got your best interest in heart, that relationship will be, and it can go on for years. Sometimes, you can have a sales relationship and it ends up being something that it has huge longevity because they always know that you're the person, you're going to be the go-to, you're the person that they want to deal with. Yeah, I love that.
Exactly.
I love that. So what are some of the can you give us an example of a success story, someone who after doing mentorship with you, it really turned around their business?
Oh, wow. I'm fortunate enough to say there's quite a few of those, but there's one that really is top of the top three for me, and that is one of my clients who can I actually read the testimonial? I think would be
yeah. I think that'd be awesome.
I think I'm going to do that. So what she said is, dear Janine, embarking on a new business venture, I found myself stuck in the web of self-sabotage for months, overwhelmed and paralyzed by creating a business. I had come to a stop and was done with everything. I reached out to you initially as a sales mentor, just desperate to kickstart my revenue. Little did I know that you were more than just that. I soon signed up with you as an accountability mentor, and together we embarked on a transformative journey to launch my business. You swiftly identified that sales weren't the immediate issue. I needed to return to square one. You laid out a particular step-by-step plan that really dotted all the T's with so it took me from zero progress. I am now gearing up to launch my business in February 2024. So this testimonial was last year, December. Your approach is strategic and you meticulously tailored a step-by-step journey to my specific needs, which is really a wonderful thing to see. Nothing business-related seems beyond your grasp. I could bounce anything off you. You're quick to the point and always ready for advice. You don't just listen, you genuinely understand the struggles and actively contribute, providing fantastic insights into everything I create. This helped me to cut through all the procrastination fog and gain crystal clear clarity on my business name, the service I wanted to offer, my website, and the list goes on. Thank you for infusing me each session with enthusiasm and, of course, everything that you do. It helped me it helped me a lot with leaving each session motivated and ready for action. I eagerly anticipate the upcoming year as I'm excited to dive into the specifics of sales and marketing. And that is my beautiful client, Cara Lee, who's a breath coach.
Wow, that is amazing. And it was funny
because I love those stories.
Actually, exactly everything. I mean, just give me chills. That was amazing. And I suppose something that it was kind of implied, which is that when you're working in sales and you're actually looking for your clients, sometimes there's this maybe a desire to basically just sell them something because you think, yeah, they definitely need this. They should have this. But actually finding out what they really need, which is exactly what you're doing for your clients. You're actually finding out exactly what they need. You're not just one size fits all. It's like, okay, you're an individual, you've got specific needs, and actually identifying that is beautiful. It's fantastic. That's amazing testimonial. You must be so proud.
I am, and you hit the nail on the head there. There's no one size fits all when it comes to my mentorship programs. I really focus on your specific needs, your sales process. I don't bring my sales process to you. I adapt to your sales process as an entrepreneur or as a salesperson because that is what you're used to. I just come in to refine things and help you tweak certain aspects and certain habits to really reach your goals. Because as we all know, we're sometimes too close to the project. And if an outsider comes in and share different insights, you reach certain things faster.
Oh, for sure. I think people can get very bogged down and just they can't see wood for the trees, stuck in the weeds, all these different analogies, but it's so true. Especially, I suppose, when you are on your own, or you're just a very small team and there's so much to do and you're literally, you're all hands on deck. You're literally doing every single thing yourself. To have that outside perspective, that person who can come in and say, okay, we're going to take you back. We're going to take a big step back. We're going to look at this from a completely different perspective. To get that, to have that ability, I just think that's priceless, really, at the end of the day.
You know what, I vision the future where every sales profession or an entrepreneur has really the tools and the support they really need to succeed. I really am trying to also build a community of empowering individuals who are truly passionate about their craft and really making a positive impact. And there's so many things happening in my circle at the moment, and I cannot wait to share it with the world. And maybe in 4 months' time, we can retouch on this podcast again, so that there's even more success stories to share. And I think that goes for you as well, Sara.
Well, we've got our own projects, and then we've got a joint project, because our philosophy is you can't do this on your own. You do need help. And I think trying to do everything on your own is very demoralizing. It's exhausting. And it's not really much fun. I don't know about you, but I love kind of, collaborating with people and getting, as I say, it's 1 + 1 is 3. It's not actually 2, because you're bringing so much to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's really exciting. So definitely, Janine, we are definitely going to revisit in about 3 or 4 months' time and see, where you're at, because there's some really exciting projects in the pipeline. So where can people find you? What's the best way for people to get in touch with you if they're looking for a sales accountability mentor?
I think the best thing is to connect with me on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is one of the best ways to connect with me. And my
we'll
LinkedIn
put the link.
profile.
We'll put the link below anyway, below the video.
Yes,
so
I was about to say, I think the link will be below. So connect with me on LinkedIn, reach out, and let's start your sales journey and make it fun, because sales can be fun.
Well, when you make a sale, it's amazing.
Absolutely. Even if you don't, it's still a learning opportunity.
The journey is just as great as the destination. Yeah, for sure. I definitely changed my mindset a few years ago about sales. I was very, anti-sales, I suppose. Like so many people, you sort of hear the word and you think, oh, someone's going to try and make me buy something I don't really want. And, you suddenly feel like this person's got all this power. It's like, no, the reality is we are, as I said, everyone's selling all the time, whether it's an idea, a service, a product, it doesn't matter. We're all doing it. And I think being conscious of that and actually selling consciously is really, which is exactly what you do.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. It's like Eleanor Roosevelt said, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams.
Oh, she had some great quotes. I loved her quotes.
Absolutely. Indeed, she does. But listen, I think I've talked a lot now.
Well, yeah, but it was all good. It was all good stuff.
I think it is time for people to get to hear about Sara Haboubi and her career and what she has done. And people, she's amazing. That's all I can say. It's not just because I know her and work with her on certain projects, but you really are fantastic. So for people, I want you to please tell us, how did you become an NLP coach and trainer? Share your story with us.
Well, just like yourself, Janine, it's a long story. I'll try and make it short. So my previous work in life, up until I was 31, was as an engineer. So I actually worked in London, then I went to Malaysia, I was M&E engineer, then I became project manager, lived in Thailand, worked as a project manager there. But, I always struggled with the technical side of things, and that I didn't find it very interesting. I always loved the people. Whenever I worked on projects, I was great friends with the other engineers, the architect, the client, the subcontractors. I'd often be brought in actually to mediate arguments on site, which always made me laugh. So I was always much more of a people person anyway. And in 2002, so I'm going to give my age away here. Yeah, I'm definitely, it's been over 2 decades. I'm young at heart. Age is just a number, as they say.
That's it.
I was living in Thailand, and I'd actually gone in at that stage to open up a holistic health center, believe it or not. I knew nothing about anything. I was just really interested in alternative ways of physical healing and mental healing, emotional healing. I was I was always interested in those things from my mid-20s. And a lady came in one day, and she happened to be an NLP coach. And I had a session with her, and it blew my mind. I mean, there's no other way of describing it. So she, in 20 minutes, helped me completely get rid of a problem I'd had since I was a teenager. I thought the symptoms were the problem, and that's what always happens with clients: is they come in and they go, "This is my problem." The reality is that's always just the surface. That's just the symptoms of something that's much deeper and unconscious. So my surface problem, pretty crazy, but it was, if they paid me a compliment that I was clever, I would want to kill them. Not literally, but I would go into a rage. So I went into it and I said, this is such a weird reaction. I don't understand why I have such a negative reaction to what would actually be a positive comment. And as I said, within 20 minutes, she was able to ask me some questions that uncovered at a deep level that I had made a decision when I was 15 that being clever was dangerous.
Oh, wow.
That being smart, I was at risk of being bullied because I was in boarding school at that stage. And I did not realize I had made that decision. It was completely unconscious. But from that minute of that conversation with these other girls, I truly believed that this was the case unconsciously. And then I sabotaged pretty much all of my education up until I was 31. So I just about scraped into university. I didn't pass of university architecture because I didn't show up to lectures. And I kept thinking, what's wrong with me? Like, what is going on? I used to be such a hardworking kid till I was 15. And then I went and I did engineering, and I got through the course, but it was always this huge effort. Then in the sort of late 90s, I did an MBA. I started an MBA online, but these are days, by the way, before Google, before ChatGPT. So I had to do this correspondence. I did most of it. I was 90% of the way through, and then I gave up. I just lost my motivation. I'd paid for it, and I was like, what is wrong with me? And I kept asking myself this question, like, what is going? I never could understand why I was self-sabotaging. And any excuse, and I would just stop. That was it.
Yeah.
So when I had a session with her, and what I uncovered was actually this belief that being clever was dangerous. I'd made this, and it was a decision. It wasn't a personality trait. The light bulb moment was so big. I suddenly saw the impact of that one decision in that split second when I was 15, how it had completely impacted my life negatively for the following 16 years. And I was blown away. I was blown away because once I understood it was a decision, I knew I could change it. I knew I was not stuck with that as a fixed thing inside of me, that I had to operate this way. So funny enough, because I love Eleanor Roosevelt as well, and one of her quotes is, what other people think of you is none of your business. And I love that, because that was essentially what happened. I looked at it and I went, do you know what? I can't change how other people see me or what they think of me. It's not up to me. If they don't like me, okay, do you know what? I don't like everybody either. We don't all have to like each other. That's okay. And the big one for me was, I'm really responsible for how other people are feeling around me. If someone feels like they're somehow, less than me because they think, oh, you have a degree or whatever it is, well, that's nothing to do with me. That's their own issues. And okay, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to change anything about myself. And I'm not going to do something to try and impress somebody either. I do it for myself. If I'm going to do something, it's absolutely for me. It was such a profound change in me that I literally cannot say I'm not the same person after that day.
That is
I was blown away.
It's really scary how unconscious decisions can lead to self-sabotage.
For sure. For sure. In fact, if you are self-sabotaging, you have made an unconscious decision. Yes. Without a shadow of a doubt. That is a given. There is a belief somewhere. It's funny. I've done lots of things. I've done lots of trainings. I've coached thousands of people. I've done workshops. I've developed models. I've gone into the education field with this. So 22 years of this, and I'm still, to this day, I light up when I think about NLP and I think about the power of NLP. But I remember doing a workshop years ago, and it was for women who were very, very successful, very, they had a lot of abundance in their lives, in Ireland. There were judges and doctors, consultants. I mean, they were really high flyers, these women. And the day was on Sabbath self-sabotage. And what was interesting was I went around the group when I was doing my section, and I said, okay, what beliefs were you brought up with around money? What did you believe about money?
Oh,
and it was amazing how many had the belief of, money is the root of all evil. One of them said, well, our saying in the house was, growing up, we're poor, but we're honest. And I was like, oh, imagine then, because then it's implying that when you're not poor, guess what?
You're not honest. Yes.
Wow. So we uncovered all of these beliefs that they had been, surrounded by when they were growing up. And of course, that goes into the deep level. And unconsciously you believe it, even though logically it's not true. But your unconscious mind is way more powerful than your conscious anyway.
Exactly. You adapt to your environment in some way, but more mentally than anything else, I think.
Absolutely. So as soon as these women would get close to really achieving the big goals that they wanted, guess what? This unconscious belief that being rich and being abundant and having money was a bad thing would kick in at the unconscious level, and they would unconsciously sabotage it, and they would do stupid stuff. And they were like, what's wrong with me? Because we don't really know what our problems are, because they are deeply unconscious. If we knew, we would have resolved them. We wouldn't need any help from anybody. And there are times when we've done that. Everyone's done that when they've suddenly realized they've had that light bulb moment themselves, and they've gone, oh, I've seen myself doing this, and now I know why. But most of the time we need help. We need a bit of help for someone to come along like you, and just take that step back and go, okay, I'm going to ask you some questions, and let's really dig, and let's really find out what's really going on.
Yes, exactly. It's a detox in some way to reach your full potential.
It's very cathartic. Totally. I like that. It's like an emotional detox, a mental detox. It's cathartic without having to go through all of the stories and lots of tears and weeks or months and months of going over the same problem. It's very solution focused. And I suppose as an engineer, my brain likes solutions. I don't really like problems. So I kind of see this as a little bit like engineering for the mind.
And I think you're exactly right. I think it is exactly that. Now, you've touched on a few things, self-sabotage and unconscious decisions, but can you kind of share how exactly NLP can help people for those listeners out there?
So the bottom line of NLP is it's vastly different from counseling or psychotherapy or any of those other talk therapies, because they're very focused on the problem and the negatives. And it's like, almost like go through enough and you talk about the problem enough, the solution will kind of magically appear. And I've been through some of that myself. And I always felt worse coming out of the session than when I went in those situations, because if you keep talking about the problem, you're going to keep reliving it. You're going to keep going back in and reassociating into all those emotions and even the physiology of that problem. So your unconscious mind thinks it's happening again. So it's just reacting as if it doesn't know the difference between reality or imagination. NLP is very much about, okay, where are you in your life? What's happening that you're not particularly happy with? And where do you want to be? Like, what's the outcome? Where do you actually want to go? And then my job as a coach and a facilitator is to help that person identify what's blocking them. So it could be a limiting decision. For example, I'm not good enough, or money is the root of all evil, or, like my stupid one, which was, being clever is dangerous. I was like, of course it's not true. But once we have had this idea and we think, oh, it must be true, we kind of goes in the unconscious and it starts running. It could be emotional baggage. It could be that we've just got so much emotion all connected to a very similar type of event that we're carrying it around like a rucksack full of bricks, and every time something similar happens, we put another brick in and we're carrying that around with us as well. We're lugging our stuff, our emotional baggage and our problems around with us all the time. We don't need to, because the reality is the past does not exist. The future does not exist. It's only about right here, right now. And yet what we're doing is we're using our negative experiences from the past to see the current situation through that lens. So we can change our lenses. We can get rid of anxiety. We can get rid of phobias. We can get rid of panic attacks. We can become more confident. We can be more motivated. Really, there's only really a handful of problems actually that we all have, but they manifest in different ways. So NLP is very quick. It's very empowering because I don't solve the problems for people. I am a facilitator. I help them to solve their own problems. And that's way more empowering than someone giving you a solution, because it's so easy, isn't it? I mean, my least favorite word in the dictionary, do you know what it is?
I want to say work-life balance because I know you don't like that.
No, the word should.
Oh, should. The word should. That's it.
The word should. I hate the word should. The word should is so loaded with judgment. And, you have no choice. When someone says to you, do you know what you should do? And you're looking at them going, in my head, I'm like, do you know what you should do? Do you know what you should do with that advice? You need to put it somewhere where the sun doesn't shine, because people are only aware of their own perception of someone's problem. It's not the person's perception of the problem. It's not how they're experiencing it. So we're all filtering the world. I can never be an expert on anyone else. I can't be an expert on someone else's life. How can I? My job is, they're the expert. My job is to help them to look at things from a completely different perspective, to step out of the problem and basically get a completely different point of view and change the meaning of these events or the meaning of that decision in order to release the emotion. But we always want to keep the wisdom. So for me, it's actually about how do you become wiser? How do you become more discerning? And to do that, you have to learn the lessons from the past, but you also have to let the baggage go.
Oh, absolutely. I love what you said earlier is, change your lens, because by teaching your mind to actually focus on the now, we can actually promote a greater happiness, peaceful life at the end, right? Sure. So you're still in control. And I think that's what NLP gives you is giving you back the control.
100%. 100%. And that's what I love to see. I love to see people suddenly have that realization that their reaction, whether it's emotional, whether it's physical, whatever it is, actually, no one can ever get inside your head and inside your body. No one can make you feel something. It's always our choice. And we can either be living what's called affect, which is where we're the victim and, oh, woe is me, and this is happening to me and I don't have any control. And, I've been there too. I've lived as a victim, before as well. Or we can live what's called cause, where we go, okay, I'm actually here. If I can accept the premise that I'm here because of all the unconscious and conscious decisions that I've made in my life, they've led me to this point, but they are my choices. They might be mostly unconscious, but they are still my choices. Or we can move to another even more empowered position, which is living from intention. And living from intention is where we recognize that everything we do is driven by a much deeper intention. And when we uncover that, we can very easily and quickly see how the things that we were doing or the things we believed, we're never going to achieve that intention. And the minute we know what that intention is, we automatically change our behavior and our choices in line with that. But most people don't know what their real intention is. They know a surface level, but they don't know the deep level. And that's fascinating to see people go through that. As you can tell, I'm very passionate about it. 22 years on, I'm still gushing about it.
I'm sure you have lots and lots of success stories, and you've already touched on a few. So we have a few minutes left. So can you share a success story with us, with someone who has done NLP with you?
Yeah, I mean, I train people to be NLP practitioners, and I've seen people totally transform their lives, even kind of totally change their jobs. But in terms of my clients, I mean, the one that always really touched my heart the most was he was a young man when he came to see me. He was 24, so he must be nearly 30 now, and his mother knew somebody who'd done a training with me. And they were chatting, and this woman said to her, I think you really need to talk to Sara about your son. And so she rang me and she said, look, I'm very, very concerned. His father had actually committed suicide 10 years previous to this, when he was only 14. And she could see that he was spiraling down, and he was on antidepressants. He'd been to see counselors and psychiatrists, and he'd been everywhere, and nothing was working. And she was absolutely beside herself that she was convinced. And he was talking about it. He just said, I just don't see a way out. So because they lived in England and I was in Ireland at the time, I said, look, I can do this online if you want. And she said, no, I think this is too serious. So I said, okay, tell you what, if you're willing to fly to Ireland, come over. I will literally spend a whole day. I'll just do a whole day. We'll do a morning. You can take him for lunch for an hour or so, let him decompress from the morning, come back, and we'll do it the rest of the afternoon. And she said, one day? I said, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, no, we're good.
That's how good I am.
Yeah. So we did the morning, and she took him for lunch. And when she came back with him to drop him off, even at that stage, she said, what have you done? Like, what have you been doing this morning? This is amazing. He's like so much better already. And I was like, yeah, but we're not even done yet. Don't worry. There's going to be even more.
Even more progress.
So we did the afternoon. They left. She rang me 2 days later, and she said, I have my son completely back. He is in such great form.
That is so amazing.
But the story is actually very interesting, because a couple of years later, so actually quite recently, maybe about a year ago, I just felt like I wanted to kind of reach out to see how he was doing. Because sometimes I do that with my clients. Like I do, I'm invested in them.
Oh, that's my heart, because that's exactly part of the sales process. I love it.
Yeah. So I just contacted him. I said, how are you doing? He said, actually, I was going to ring you. I was going to contact you because I'm not doing so well. So he had gone into business and he'd lost a large sum of money, and it wasn't just his money, it was other people's money. And he was feeling really bad. And he said, I think I'm back to square one. And I said, okay, the thing is, you never go back to square one. When you've done the work, you never go back. But maybe there's some other stuff that has come up that now needs to be addressed. So we only had maybe 2 or 3 sessions online, because he knew me at that stage. He didn't have to come and fly. And I recently sent a message to see how he was, and there was no answer. So I was concerned. So I contacted his mum and I said, is he okay? She said, he is fantastic. He is in amazing form. And when I asked him to do a testimonial for me, he said, well, the testimonial would literally say, if I hadn't met Sara Haboubi, I would have taken my own life.
Oh, wow. That is beyond powerful.
And
that is amazing.
I'm so delighted I met him. He was such a lovely young man as well. And he sends people to me all the time. He'll say, oh, you're my personal witch. I'm just going to send here's my personal number, my personal witch. You need to go see her.
Oh, that's so funny. But that is a very deep story. And that, if whoever's listening, if that doesn't make you realize the importance of NLP, I don't think anything else will be able to do that. That is a remarkable success story. It's amazing.
I'm very happy he's allowed me to share his story. I
yes,
have permission to share his story, because it's, he actually is very honest about it with people, which is how people end up coming to see me, because they'll be talking and he'll open up about what he went through.
That's
and
beautiful.
Like, oh my God, how did and he's like, no, it's really important to be vulnerable and to be open and honest, because he said, someone could be, and he has sent a couple of people to me who've been very suicide ideation. So I mean, that's very extreme. That's not the only thing I deal with. But for me to have essentially, I suppose, NLP saved his life, that to me is, I feel like, yeah, do you know what? My job's done.
Hey, absolutely. I'm sitting here with goosebumps as you started talking about this. It is absolutely remarkable. So with the success story, I'm sure that there's something brewing in the sense of a course that's happening for people to come and join if they want to start their own NLP practice. I believe that's happening.
It is, as you well know, because Janine, you're going to be digging in with this course as well, which is fantastic. So yeah, I have an NLP training coming up, a practitioner course. And the beauty of the practitioner course is you don't have to do it just because if you want to be a coach. You can do it for any reason. You can just do it as your own gift to yourself, as the most in-depth and rapid transformation and letting go of things that are not working for you. For me, that's what it did for me. I was like a different person at the end of it, but it wasn't like I was a different person, really. What I had let go of the layers that were not working.
Yes.
negative beliefs, emotional baggage, inner conflict, all those things. Not only did I learn how to help other people, but we do it for ourselves. I always say in NLP training, you've got two hats. You've got your hat. You've got to have an experience of this. If you have a experience of how powerful the technique is on a real problem, you're more likely to use it with your clients. So it's not just as a coaching course. It's actually it's for personal development. Hands down, it's the best thing, because you're just solving your problems yourself. So it's 5 core modules that are run over 3 blocks, starting around the end of November. And there's online support, there's webinars, so I keep in touch with everybody to make sure how they're getting on. We have then some practice days where people bring a friend or a family member that they're too close to work with, so then they swap. So one of the other students will work with their body and they'll work with their friend or their family member. And amazingly, this year, this course, we've now got the business of coaching. We're going to add that in, because I was thinking about what's the gap. What is it that people are left with, not knowing how to do, that would make them actually use these amazing skills that they've learned? Because so many people come out, they're fantastic coaches, but they never actually go and become a coach. And the reason is because, as we were talking earlier about sales, they don't know how to do the sales and marketing or the business plan, and actually, their branding. Exactly. So yourself and lovely Shasray Flanagan will be doing the business end of coaching. So helping the students to find their niche, do their business plan, sort all of that stuff out, and then also the sales and marketing, how to be online, how to find, how to do your lead generation, how to network. So the aim is within about 9 months, someone from the beginning to the end of this process, they'll hit the ground running. They'll be a competent, confident coach, and they'll have a thriving coaching business, whether it's online or in person. That's entirely up to them. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, I think it's such a comprehensive course, and I think it's really sharing powerful techniques to help people overcome their beliefs, achieving their goals, and obviously creating a fulfilling life at the end of the day, whether you are doing it as a business or just doing it, as you say, investing in yourself.
I mean, people have had the most amazing results from doing the NLP with their relationships, maybe with their partners or with their children, or with colleagues at work. They just, it's like they just see the world differently, and they don't take things so personally. They don't react as badly to things. So, their relationships actually are taken to another level. Some people they've absolutely become coaches and they've changed their lives, and other people, they've just plugged it into their jobs. And other people are already coaches of a different kind, maybe a physical therapist or CBT or other sorts of services for people. And this is just another layer that they put on, and it really, makes their services and their offers amazing. I have people who, until they did NLP, they were ticking along, and then they added. I've had acupuncturists, I've had physiotherapists, I've had chiropractors. I mean, you name it. I've had lawyers, I've had doctors, I've had, housewives, I've had a single mom.
The diversity is just amazing.
When people say, well, who should do it? It's like, well, basically everybody. I've always believed that if NLP was in schools, and of course that is my other area that I work in, is in education and schools, is that actually the world would be a much more peaceful place. Because we wouldn't be having those conflicts, because we wouldn't be going head to head. We'd be going heart to heart.
Totally heart to heart. I absolutely love that when you say that. It is an absolute awesome trio of a course. And for those who are listening, there is a time limit of the early bird. So that details will be shared as well, and very excited about this. So if you want to invest in yourself and have a more fulfilling life, I do suggest have a look at this and enroll, and don't wait.
And you know what? It's great fun too. It's hard work, but it's great fun. And I always make sure that on the course that it's lively, it's interactive, and I'm actually great friends with quite a lot of my students who've come on the course, because you get to know people, really, really well. on that. And it's so lovely to have that deep connection. And sometimes people go, do you know what? Only other people who've done your NLP training would understand what it's like. And that's why they find it so easy. So I have a community of practitioners, and I'm still in touch with them, sort of 20 odd years later.
That's
because
beautiful.
as you were saying, about relationships. It's all about relationships at the end.
Exactly. It's all about relationship, and it's really awesome to hear that you're still in contact with those. I'm very excited for this course. I'm doing the course myself, as well with Shazray. So we are super excited about this, and can't wait to share the way things have transformed into something beautiful. Sara, can you believe it is time to say goodbye?
I know it always goes by in a flash, whether we're talking to each other, we're talking to one of our amazing guests, but we're going to be back, aren't we? We're back with guests in October.
Absolutely.
So we do encourage people to watch out for the Women Wise podcast season 2.
There's big things happening, and all the seeds that were planted are now starting to bloom. And watch this space. That's all I'm going to say right now. So once again, thank you so much for those who are listening, and for all the support. Even though we were a little bit on leave for a few weeks, we really appreciate you.
Absolutely. It was lovely. People were saying, when are you back on? When are you back on? Like, when's the next one? Come on. So, that was great for us to hear that feedback. So, look, this is going to get bigger and better. And absolutely watch the space. And Janine, thank you for sharing your story and, what you do, because it's so invaluable. And really, guys, if you need help, and we all need help, Janine is absolutely the best person to help you when it comes to your sales and your business, and really finding out what's not working, and come on, let's get those wheels moving.
Thank you, Sara, and to you as well. You are absolutely a beautiful person, and I'm so excited for this NLP course. And I just know that the lives you're changing and touching is just something that will be forever remembered. So yes, do reach out, and that's it. I think that is really it.
And we will see you next time.
Yes, you'll see us more and more, and then have more guests and beautiful empowerment women, and just making sure that we are empowering each other.
For sure, 100%. Okay, thanks, Janine. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.